takes many forms, some of which include sending threats and demeaning messages, as well as spreading rumors and posting hurtful text on social networking sites. Whatever the genesis, the society frowns at it because many persons have been demoralized and disparaged after being bullied.
When people exert use of inappropriate words and expression on their fellow users of the media space, very common in the social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, and all of that. So these expressions often go a long way to impinge on the feeling of those other persons.
If somebody is abusive by nature, then when he's reacting to certain posts on the internet, he reacts the same way.
A sociologist from the University of Uyo says cyberbullying takes on many forms like blackmail and cyber trolls, which have a more intended purpose primarily to tarnish the image of an individual or institution. These, he notes, are commonplace in the political and social spheres.
It makes someone feel unimportant.
And sometimes it also defames someone.
Go about, because it's social media, nobody will trust you, so you go about insulting people and hampering their personality on the media space, and you think it does not go a long way. It's really bad. So those ministries of government and agencies that are responsible with reorientating Nigerians.
Analysts say the aftermath of cyberbullying is fatal, as it always have adverse effects on the individual, ranging from negative emotions such as sadness, anger, fear, and embarrassment, and the likelihood of mental problems like depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, and suicidal thought. In order to curb this menace, public affairs analysts have suggested proper social orientation and sensitization is paramount, as well as enforcement of policies to be put in place to regulate the social media space in Nigeria. In Uyo, Umo Basidet, NTA News.
Up next is Sport Update with Oche Ngbede as our guide.
Let's begin with football, as Nigerian Taiwo Awoniyi has joined a growing list of players who could miss the friendlies against Ghana and Mali later this month in Morocco. Awoniyi missed Nottingham Forest 1-1 draw with Luton Town Saturday as a result of a reoccurring injury which has kept him in and out of Nuno Esperanto Santos' team. Also on the list is new call-up Gabriel Osho, who is currently battling to be fit for a Super Eagles debut. Meanwhile, Watford caretaker manager singled out Emmanuel Dennis for special praise after he shrugged off injury to score the match winner at Birmingham City. The Super Eagles winger pounced on the defensive lap in the 43rd minute to score what eventually proved to be the match winner. To the African Games in Ghana, Nigerians Pamela Bauer and Esther Oba ensured Team Nigeria returned with the bronze in beach volleyball, despite being relatively new to the sport. The youngsters secured the bronze in the women's double as they proudly shared the podium with Egypt and Madagascar. Similarly, Nigerians Marylove Edward and Oyilomo Quadri has both advanced into the round of 32 of the women's tennis single in Ghana. Meanwhile, Wisin Osalele Igbinovia is making the mark in Accra as the youngster has joined his compatriot Christopher Bulu in the next round after securing a win over Ethiopian's Yabat Kabedi in the round of 64 of the men's tennis single. And finally to tennis, as world number 1 Novak Djokovic has confirmed he will not be playing in next week's Miami's Open due to scheduling. The 24-time Grand Slam champions returned to play the early session of the U.S. hardcore swing in Indian Wells in California, only to suffer a shock third-round exit to lonely ranked Italian Lucas Nadi. Djokovic said after the defeat, he still planned to play in the Miami Open despite the loss, but that would not be possible. Djokovic's statement on Saturday gave no indication of where he next expected to play. With Sports Update, Oche Ngbede, NTA News.
This was the submission of Reverend Father Patrick Essien at the funeral mass of late Mrs. Agnes Anthony Ibut, conducted at St. Joseph Kwasi Parish, Mbaritam 3 in Itu local government area. Basenya Ekpenyong reports that she died at the age of 75.
The funeral mass in honor of the late Mrs. Agnes Anthony Ibut commenced with line in set at her hometown, Mbakitam 3, where friends, family members, church, and the community paid her their last respect. A biography of the deceased indicates that she was a devout Christian who was courageous, hardworking, sociable, and accommodating. In his sermon, Reverend Father Patrick Essien reminded Christians that there is life after death, as they will account for the life they live while on earth.
How many of us are prepared for a day like this? How many of us do understand the fact that very soon we will leave this life to another peaceful life? But when that one comes, every moment that is family,
the funeral mass featured thanksgiving in honor of the deceased by the Catholic Women Organization and prayers for the bereaved family.
Yes, I have missed my mother, her wise counsel. She was my mentor. She was my teacher. She has been my source of inspiration, always advising. So all those advices I have missed, I will greatly miss my mother.
My mom has been one wonderful woman that will be greatly missed. Yeah, we know in life nobody is perfect, but at least we say the testimonies around is enough to give a good account of what has been the life history of this woman.
I thank God for giving her a good and fulfilling life. I pray that may her soul and the souls of all the faithful departed rest in peace.
Late Mrs. Anthony Ibbot is survived by her children, siblings, in-laws, and other relatives to mourn her demise. In Itu local government area, Abasi Anyanga Ekpeyong, NTA News.
Torrents of glowing tributes were prominent at the funeral service in honor of late Mrs. Comfort Akwawo Amaunam, sister of Mrs. Ekaite Akpan, Assistant Director of Finance, Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Kaduna Network Center. Janime Uko reports that she was aged 60.
The late Mrs. Comfort Akwawo Amaunam's journey to her final resting place commences here at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital mortuary, where her remains are conveyed to her country home, Ikoro Biondogo in Nkpadenin local government area, for funeral rites and lying in state. Family, church, community and friends then gather here to pay their last respect to the departed, who they mourn her early exits from the earth. Biography reveals the deceased, a retired civil servant, was sociable, upright and industrious.
Mama was a very sociable person, a good mixer, humane and ever very prepared to assist anyone who needed her help.
The funeral message is concise. Participants are reminded to live purposeful lives while alive.
It doesn't matter how close you are with Jesus, but what matters indeed is understanding the purpose of God in your life.
Condolence messages were received from the Methodist Church Nigeria, National Orientation Agency, Akwa Ibom State Secondary Education Board, amongst others. Remains of the late Comfort Akwawo Amaunam are then laid to rest amid solemn songs by the family and church. Family and friends speak glowingly of the life and times of the deceased.
Comfort Akwawo Amaunam was my very dear wife. She was very useful to us, as she was loving and supportive to me and the family. She passed away so soon.
She was a giver. My sister will give you the last cup of garri that she has. I've lost somebody that when I come back to the village, I'll visit now. But my happiness is that she lived a very good life.
She was always ready to help anywhere where necessary. If you have a problem to go and meet her, she'll be ready to help if she can do it.
Mrs. Comfort Akwawo Amaunam has been a good woman in the Women Fellowship Room. She was a woman of faith.
Dianime Uko, NTA News.
Take a break now. Newscope continues with Omobasi Edit.
One passenger, big auntie. Come and enter my bus now.
Hey, conductor, this cough is serious. I beg, you need to go to the hospital.
Hospital?
Doctors say cough symptoms are different in every condition. Some are dry, others are wet, like your own.
God bless you, auntie. I have told this my conductor. The cough has refused to go, and it could be tuberculosis.
Conductor, check am o. Make you dey sure, because who no go, no go, no.
Check that cough for tuberculosis.
If your cough is more than 2 weeks, it could be tuberculosis. TB test and TB treatment are free. Just call the National TB Hotline on 3340 or dial *3340# for more information. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Health with support from the American people.
Welcome to Prisma International Hotels, located at number 5 Efangosanga Street, Afaga Fort, Overback Road, Uyu. When it comes to hospitality industry, nothing compares with comfort, exquisite services, and top-of-the-world security. These are what make Prisma Hotels a household name. At Prisma Hotels, you are assured of lavishly furnished, spacious rooms and suites with complimentary breakfast, top-class blue sea swimming pool, VIP and poolside bars, as well as restaurant where African and continental dishes are served at pocket-friendly rates. These are not all. There is high-speed internet service, closed-circuit television, spacious car park, 24-hour power and water supply, sparkle laundry and dry cleaning services, and above all, combat-ready security operatives. So whenever you are in Uyo or you are a resident in Uyo, capital city of Akwa Ibom State, make Prisma Hotels number 5 Efangosanga Street, Tafaga Fort, Overback Road, Uyo, your choice, and you will cherish the experience. For bookings and inquiries, please call 081-3166-6660 or 0915-509-9989. Prisma International Hotels, hospitality par excellence.
One passenger. Big auntie, go enter this bus.
Oga conductor, this kind cough na serious matter. You suppose go hospital.
Hospital care.
Haba, doctors don talk am say different types of cough dey. Some na dry cough, but this your own na wet cough e be.
Big auntie, na God go bless you. I don tire for this my conductor and him cough wey no gree go. E fit even be tuberculosis.
Conductor, go check am o, make you dey sure, because who no go, no go, no.
Check that cough for tuberculosis.
If cough don't worry you past 2 weeks, if it be tuberculosis, TB test and treatment, na free. Just call the National TB Hotline for 3340 or dial *3340# to get better information. This message now from the Federal Ministry of Health with support from the American people there.
You're still watching Newscope. Glad to know that you're there. Water is life, they say, and every adult is expected to drink at least 3 to 4 liters of water in a day to stay hydrated. But recent hike in the prices of table water is denying some Nigerians in Uyo the opportunity to drink clean water regularly. Blessing Akpan sought to find out reasons for this increment.
When the Sachi water producers and retailers returned from the strike action in November 2023, there was increment in the price of Sachi water. This was the beginning of increment in the price of Sachi water. In Uyo Metropolis, Sachi water goes for about 350 naira to 450 naira per bag, as against 200 naira about a year ago. Sachi water producers disclosed that this hike is as a result of scarcity and increment of materials used for water production and transportation costs.
It's because of the high cost of materials. Like last week, we couldn't find the backing pack in Akwa Ibom State, even in Lagos State. From 8,000 naira to about 12,000 naira per a kilo of, or 16,000 naira per a kilo of material. Price of material is really affecting the price of water. Even the price of diesel now, from 300 naira to 1,000 plus.
Residents therefore appeal to the government to regulate the price and distribution of Sachi water to enable citizens have access to clean water.
If they can reduce the price of the diesel that we are using, and I believe the price of diesel will in turn reduce the price of material, the cost of material that we are buying, and definitely it can affect the price of water.
May government just give pure water fixed price. May just give fixed price of stuff because it will help us so that like you get as person could just sit down for us, like increasing home price personally, like government even hear about that one.
I want the government to look into it and through the industries. If there's a way they can come in, then form an association or a committee to work towards bringing down the price of pure water to be suitable for the masses. I think with then that will be very, very comfortable and okay for the masses.
In Uyo, Blessing Akpan, NTA News.
And it is often said children are a blessing from God, and in appreciation of these heavenly gifts, many families try their best to nurture them in love, with care and affection, even an acceptable standard of discipline in order to mold them into responsible adults. But when the reverse is the case, as it is with a 10-year-old Esther, whose guardian often gets her molested and this time around beaten to stupor until she lost consciousness, it becomes a matter of concern to interested parties, including the NTA, that do not compromise gender-based violence. Maureen Liajom reports.
I received information about the plight of little 10-year-old Esther from the Center for Gender Development, University of Calabar, and upon arrival at the Department of Medical Services of the institution, little Esther was seen on admission receiving medical attention after being rescued from the hands of her master, who is said to oftentimes molest her.
It has been happening, but the one that broke the camel's back was on Wednesday night. This around past 10, that kind 10:30 something. So my roommate was still outside the hostel when she heard Esther running out, and she fell on the ground and she was crying. So she rushed towards her, calling her name, Esther, what happened? And she then said that her guardian kicked her on the stomach and was beating her. So she started making video. At the cause of the scene, Esther lost consciousness.
I started standing and crying. My mother used to say suicide.
The arrest students alerted the authorities of the University of Calabar that further directed the Unical Medical Center to ensure her resuscitation and further medical and social examination and treatment.
When I saw her on examination, I discovered that she was barely conscious. She was in a state of stupor, because stupor is the state of almost complete unresponsiveness. I gave her time to recover. Obviously, I could not interview her at that point because she was still in a state of stupor. After about 4 hours, she became more responsive and was able to, attempt to respond to my questions, nodding her head, shaking her head, and then speaking in very low tones to respond. In summary, she had been severely traumatized, both physically and psychologically.
What is now the major concern of the University of Calabar authorities and other concerned Nigerians over Esther's case is Esther's rehabilitation, and even the trace of her biological parents is in doubt. However, the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons in Cross River State is on top of the matter and says will speak to the public upon conclusion of their investigation. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
That's really a sad one. Justice for Esther, you may say. Marriage is a union between two or more people that creates family tie with social rights and responsibilities. In Africa, it is usually between a man and a woman, or women in the case of polygamous marriage. However, it is worrisome when an underage girl child is given out in marriage for reasons such as custom and traditional practices. Erika Ivy in this report examines the impact of money marriage in Cross River State.
For a
marriage in Nigeria is becoming worrisome, with negative attendant consequences of inadequate educational opportunities, health risk, and poverty devastating the girl child. Even with the Child Rights Act enacted in 2003, setting the age of marriage at 18 years, custom and tradition will not allow the law to prevail. For instance, the popular money marriage of Dorothy Etawa, a native of Becheve village, Obanliku local government area of Cross River State, is trailing reactions from the social media video, as the practice does not allow the Becheve girls to take decision and choose who they may desire to marry.
It is a deprivative. A child who gets married too early will not be able to develop himself to full potential of understanding what marriage is all about. And we know about the implication of VVF.
Money marriage. That means a child is used to pay the indebtedness of the parents. It is so saddening that in today's world, such a thing is happening.
In spite of campaigns by non-governmental organizations and the Cross River State government to create awareness in the community against such practices, the people seems not to relax the age-long practice, believing that a Becheve man without money wife is not regarded enough to speak in the community assembly.
It is not permissible in law. I don't think any custom can also permit that, and it will be allowed to stand, because the customs are now subject to what we describe in law as equity, good conscience.
I won't be able to allow the girl to go far, and what God has put in her, the girl will not be able to manifest it.
Some respondents say the archaic and barbaric traditional practice by Bechebe people is a form of modern-day slavery, allowing the girl child to remain in bondage.
That is child abuse, because the child is not given the right to make her own choices.
To give a child like this, my daughter, in her hand in marriage is totally child abuse.
Research shows that Nigeria is the 11th highest prevalence of child marriage. Therefore, concerted efforts by government and private sector involving legal reform, community enlightenment is needed to tackle and end the menace of money wife and child marriage, not just in Cross River State, but Nigeria. In Calabar, Erika Ivy, NTA News.
Yeah, modern day slavery, you may say. That's what money marriage is all about. And moving on now, the ring is often used as a symbol of a seal over marriages. Hence, during wedding ceremonies, you hear such statements of commitment as, "With this ring, I thee wed." This explains why wedding rings are thereafter worn by people as a sign of their marital status. In recent times, however, things seem to have changed, as most couples now go without this mark of identity. And curious to find out why, our correspondent Chide Beronia sought the views of some Port Harcourt residents. Let's now join her as she reveals her findings.
The wedding ring has its origin way back in the history of human civilization, and not many can tell exactly how it evolved. However, the wedding ring, which is usually made of gold, silver or bronze, is considered a token of love that unites a husband and wife in holy matrimony, and has gradually become a status symbol for many Christians and Muslims over time. Investigation shows that some married couple, especially the men, over the years have not cared much about their rings. They cast it off soon after consummating their marriage, thus sparking questions whether they really understand what the ring means.
What I may say is just to show the union of your partner, and it is a respect, it's a sign of a respect for a man, both parties.
I think that is an atom of agreement for two people joining together. Some women, because of their black and their bad behavior, at times when they want to run black business, they can remove the ring and hide it inside their bag and pretend as if they are not married. and then do whatever thing they like, and then that is just it is. So marriage is an agreement.
When you put on your wedding ring as a married woman, first of all, it will command respect. Anywhere you enter, they will acknowledge that this person is married. They will give you that respect. They will not talk to you anyhow. Why some men naturally don't like putting on their wedding ring is either because maybe they are cheating on their wife, or they don't just want their ex-girlfriends to seal them that they are putting on their wedding ring.
While some men say they stopped wearing their wedding band for personal reasons, others are of the view that it is not the right indicator to measure love.
Why I'm not wearing it is that the church I attend, if you put on the ring, some people may think maybe it's there that your power is.
Like some of us who marry traditionally, we don't wear it. So that's why we are not giving the ring.
I don't think it has something to do with infidelity, because there are men who don't wear ring. They don't go into the things we think or we call infidelity. But there are some, even with their ring, they do it. So it has to do with the mindset.
Somebody can forget. Somebody's mindset can just make you to remove your mind on wearing wedding ring, and you can be in a haste. It's not about that maybe you guys are quarreling or anything. It depends on just your mood or mindset at that moment. I don't think there is any other thing attached to it.
Although respondents agree that wedding ring does not determine the success of marriage, one thing they say is certain. The ring reminds couples that they swore an oath of fidelity and allegiance to each other. Thus, staying faithful to one's partner is a sine qua non of a successful union. In Port Harcourt, Chidiebere Onyia, NTA News.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks. Having a child, male or female, is a blessing, but are some families really blessed with giving birth to same sex over the others? This is the misconception of many parents on who is the carrier of the sex-determining chromosome. In this special report, Sandra Keme, who interacted with health experts, tells us more.
Over the years, many keep wondering why some parents give birth to children with the same gender, which most times result to crisis among families, tagging it as heritable. For some families, having children of same sex affects their life satisfaction negatively.
If a woman keeps giving birth to female children, particularly, the husband worries and the husband's people worry that she's not giving birth to a male child that will advance the name of the family.
It's not that the woman cannot give birth to the female child. It's what the man gives the woman, that woman will produce.
If Almighty Allah give you birth for female, he will say, hey, if you're a man, I'm better.
Well, it takes two to tango, but scientifically, research has said that it only takes the spermatozoa to determine a baby's sex. Medical experts explain that the theory of X and Y chromosomes in parents' hormones at the moment of conception has an influence. They further hint on the possible ways of getting a particular sex of a child should parents desire it, although the chances may not give 100% results.
Chromosomes are aggregation of genes, okay? And every human being has 23 pairs, okay? 22 of them are what we call autosomes, and one of the pairs is what we call sex chromosomes. So of the sex chromosomes, you have in the man what one of them is called the X chromosome and one is called the Y chromosome. In the woman, both of them are X chromosomes. So usually the combination that leads to a male is the XY chromosome, while the combination that leads to a female is the XX chromosome.
Science has come up with something where we can do X selection, embryo selection. We can hatch several embryos with spermatozoa, and when they begin to grow, there will be many cells. We can pinch a cell, we can biopsy, pinch a cell out of it. It's not going to cause any abnormality. When it's 1 day or 2 days, the organs are yet to determine where they're going to form. Then we can pinch it and go and check the karyotype. So we can return the embryos that are bearing the gender the desired gender into the woman's womb. So we call it pre-implantation genetic testing.
In Abuja, Sandra Akeme, NTA News.
Thank you, Sandra. And so now you know that it's what the man gives out that the woman brings out. And that's our package for tonight. Thanks for watching. Do have a wonderful evening. Bye.